Hey folks, welcome back to another just video, I guess. Not Paul Masters video. Um, so obviously you're running. What the heck? This is not obviously what I usually do on the channel. Why are you why are you suddenly a movie reviewer? Well, first of all, this is the first time I've done it. Like I've done like 2 other times. Not that although it was mostly by request. Like members of this channel requested me to do reviews of, I think, the Godzilla movies as I watched them. I mean, I enjoyed the Godzilla movies. I didn't think they were fantastic. Although I did really like the first act of the first Godzilla. I think that was fantastic, right? Fantastic first act. But that aside, it's those videos you could only find if you're a member of the channel. I think it's hidden or something. But obviously it's not what I usually do. But this movie is fantastic, and I had to do one. Plus people requested it as well. Plus I also really want to do it. Plus it's my channel. I get to upload whatever I want, right? As long as it abides by YouTube's obviously community guidelines and such. But yeah, let's get into this. I do want to talk about spoilers. However, I will have like 2 halves. One half's going to be non-spoiler. The other half's going to be spoiler. I could probably mark that out in the timestamp it somewhere. So first of all, let's get into non-spoiler stuff, and then we'll talk about spoilers later, because again, I do want to talk about the spoiler stuff because there's a lot of things I want to talk about. So anyways, first of all, as you guys probably knew already, right? I mean, well, I guess only if you follow me on Twitter. I've been trying to watch this movie for like the longest time. I had a lot of trouble going through trying to watch this movie, mostly due to like scheduling stuff, right, with my family, because I did want to go watch it with my brother, because me and my brother usually go watch Marvel movies together, and he's a bit more busy, or a bit more, I wouldn't say busy, but he has scheduling stuff, and my mom as well, right? So it was actually crazy, because when we first talked about it, like, okay, can we go watch this movie? And then my mom was like, oh sure, you guys could go today or tomorrow. And then I said, oh, cool, by the way, I told my mom Tony Leung is in the movie, and she's like, oh, never mind, I'm free on like Friday, let's wait till Friday so she could go as well. And that's how it got delayed. But anyways, point being, she's a big Tony Leung fan. I'm a big Tony Leung fan. This is his movie. He's in it, and he's fantastic in it. So yeah, that's like my number one thing I do want to mention about this movie is go watch it for Tony Leung. He is an absolute master of his craft. Legendary actor. Again, a lot of you guys probably don't know him or haven't seen any of his movies. I think this is his first American movie, right? Like non-Chinese Hong Kong movie, right? Because he's obviously very huge back in China, and has been for decades, but he's never really appeared in the big screen in front of I guess American audiences as much, or at least in the American film, let alone a Hollywood Marvel film, right? So he is absolutely amazing in this movie. He carries it. He absolutely carries this movie. He's so good. He makes, like, honestly, his character might be my favorite MCU character of all time now. His character might be my favorite MCU character of all time. It's close. I'm not gonna say it's like a runaway winner in this case. My previous favorite was Killmonger. Killmonger is still very good. I know I'm a normie who generally likes more complex, interesting villains than heroes a lot of times. Not that I don't like heroes. There's a lot of heroes I like too, but 1 and 2 are him and Killmonger. That's how good he was. And I thought Killmonger, I didn't think they could ever make a villain as good, if not better than Killmonger. I think they did. I think they might have actually done it. This guy this guy's incredibly good. I'll talk about his character more in the spoiler parts, but if for anything, go watch the movie for just Tony Leung. Like, even if you don't watch MCU films or whatever, this doesn't really tie much into a lot of like the other. Obviously, there are like some ties here and there, but it doesn't tie into the rest of the MCU that much. You could totally watch it without watching any MCU film before. It's very, very much it could stand on its own, right? And this guy's performance is masterful. Just masterful performance. I cannot say enough good things about him. I can't wait to talk about the spoilers. This guy's so good. This character is great, and from what I can gather from like interviews and stuff, like the character was not as it was on the screen that we see initially. Like he tried to give this character a lot of his interpretations that made the character how it was, and I thought that was just an absolute just home run. Like, this guy, he absolutely killed it. Anyways, about other things, the movie was great. This might be, and you know, if I change my mind like 2-3 weeks down the line, then so don't hold me to this, but I think this is my favorite MCU film. Straight up, it's easily my favorite. I don't say easily, but might be my favorite solo MCU film, because like, again, my previous favorite MCU film was also a solo movie, Black Panther. I have it higher than that right now. I have it higher than Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, Infinity War. Like, wow, this was good. Again, it might be recency bias. So like, maybe it's just because I just watched it and it's just so like breathtakingly good. I might change my mind in a few weeks, but who knows? But I mean, I also watched Black Widow recently, and I didn't get like that feeling at all. Like, I thought Black Widow was a fine film. I didn't think it was like bad or whatever, but I also don't think it was incredible, right, in comparison to what I just witnessed over here. Like, actually, like, I actually filmed like some like thoughts that I had on the movie before I went into the movie, and I don't think I'm gonna upload it because I think I can't believe I doubted this movie. I cannot believe I doubted this movie before watching, because I mean, I was very, very worried about this movie. I was incredibly worried about this movie going in. I was worried about the movie throughout, right? Because I was just worried, like, a movie, because it's a martial arts, or it's a kung fu movie, right? And I didn't think it would be like epic enough. There wouldn't be enough like just like overwhelming effects or things that actually like get to like people, right? That I thought maybe it wouldn't be, that great. And also, I gotta say, the trailers, I think they did an incredibly poor marketing job of this film. They did not hype it up at all in comparison to actually how good this is. I don't think they know how great this movie is themselves. Like, they should have marketed this movie much, much better. They should have marketed this movie much, much better. I think this is a huge failure on their part. I thought the trailers were good, but I've also heard a lot of people say they thought the trailer were kind of whatever, which I could see that, right? But yeah, I do think they could have done the marketing better, because they did not do the movie justice at all. This movie is fantastic. Like, it's been a whole night. I was just thinking about, like, after, like, as soon as I got out of the theaters, nonstop. I couldn't focus on anything. I was just thinking about this movie. I was going through things. Like, I was trying to find things. What did I not like about this movie? And I couldn't think of any. I really can't think of like any like major thing that I did not like about this movie. Right? Like, there were things that it seemed like that weren't that great at first, but then when I actually thought about it and looked at the facts and looked at what happened, and then it's like, oh no, actually it makes a lot of sense. And it works. Everything works. I thought the pacing was great. Because that was my, one of my worries about the movie. I thought the pacing was great. The acting, overall was great, right? The music was fantastic. The effects were great. The fighting, best fighting, best action scenes in the MCU, period. Easily. Better than Winter Soldier, right? Better than, whatever else, Civil War, or whichever else movie that was had really great fighting scenes. There's easily the best fighting scenes. And it's not even like I actually, like, maybe a hot take, but I actually thought like some fighting scenes in Black Widow were actually pretty nice. It wasn't so much the choreography, but like there's like some moves and stuff that were really cool. That I thought they did over there, but this is easily the best action scenes. Wow, there's so many great action scenes. Like, there's like, in terms of like the top like 10 action scenes in the MCU, this movie has like probably half of them, right? Like probably half or more. Like they're so good. There's like incredibly good action scenes, not just the actors themselves, the choreography, even the camera, or the lack of, I guess, much camera trickery or whatever, right, as they like to call it. I'm amazed. I'm amazed how well Tony Leung fought, because like he's not that much of a he's not a kung fu star, right? Because a lot of people always think, oh yeah, Chinese actor, it's kung fu star, right? Because that's what most Western audiences think of Chinese actors, right? When you think of Chinese actors, or Chinese American actors, you immediately think of Bruce Lee, whatever, right? Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Donnie Yen, this, that, and he's don't get me wrong, he's played martial arts films, kung fu films, obviously Grandmaster, or whatever it's called in English, where he played Ip Man, right, or a rendition of that, right? But no, he was solid in this. I think I liked every single character. There was not a character that I did not like, which is rare. Because usually, there are characters that I don't really feel, generally, in a lot of these films. There was not a character I did not like. I liked Simu Liu's character, obviously. Shang. Should I pronounce him correctly, or should I pronounce him like? Because that's always like something that, like, when I'm trying to like pronounce Chinese name, I don't know if I want to like Westernize it, or I just go for like the actual Chinese pronunciation. It's always a struggle for me personally to decide if I want to go for the actual Chinese pronunciation or something that you guys would understand a bit better. Anyways, I'll go with the Chinese pronunciation for this one. Shang, right? His character Shang was great. Obviously Tony Leung was great. Zhang Meng, or Meng or Zhang, because it's so awkward to say her name like backwards, because in English you have like the first name first and like last name second, which in China you have the like last name, but yeah, anyways, her character, Simu's sister was fantastic. I loved her as well. Razor Fist was great. The Death Dealer was great. And the most Michelle Yeoh's character was great. Chen Fa's character was great. The one that surprised me the most was actually Awkwafina, because honestly, not the biggest Awkwafina fan personally. I've seen some of her work. I don't think she's terrible, right? But she was like, I think Awkwafina is usually like a hit or miss for people, and definitely a miss for me generally. But I thought she was great here. I thought she was incredibly good in here. Like everything was supernatural. Nothing felt like forced or whatever, which is sometimes the feeling I get from watching some of her works or whatever, right? So yeah, this is great. I mean, obviously, as an Asian, I guess Canadian myself, right? I was pretty worried about this film because like if this flops, like this because this is a big deal. It is like people sometimes downplay it or don't like to talk about it, but I mean I don't like to talk about it either. But it's reality. It's a big deal. It is a big deal to have this sort of Asian representation on screen, on film, right? In exposure to again mostly a more Western audience like this, and being a superhero film, right? So I was worried, and look, I'm not this sort of person who's like, oh, any representation is good or whatever, right? It obviously has to be, depends on the movie, how well the movie does. And like again, not all of these have been hits for me personally. For example, I watched Crazy Rich Asians recently. I was not a huge fan. I didn't think it was terrible, but I think it was just okay. It's like I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I'm Chinese. I watch a lot of Chinese films. I watch a lot of Chinese rom-coms, and the movie just felt like, okay, it's just a regular rom-com. It didn't stand out much to me. And yeah, and then like the other thing, obviously that I always worry about is just getting stereotyped, right? I still get it. Yeah, I mean, they had to make the Asian film like kung fu based. Okay, that's still obviously the big film stereotype for Asian movies. But outside of that, I thought they were generally, I think, represented it very very well. Right, I knew, or at least I've read about a lot of worries coming, especially from China, given the source material and the problematic nature of that. Right, I think there were none of that at all. I think it was great. Some of like the creatures, all that stuff, mythology, the action scenes. I guess maybe one part that could have been a bit better was like the music, and I'm not saying the music was bad. I enjoyed the soundtrack. I think soundtrack was definitely a plus for the movie. They didn't use that much traditional Chinese instruments, and I get it. I mean, it's hard. They're hard to use, right? Especially if you in terms of like range, how you put them in with like Western instruments, it's not easy. And I guess I'd rather have them not have more Chinese instruments in there than like sort of like force it in there and then make it also like super stereotypical like sort of like music, I guess. So it's not a big gripe for me, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. Like I would say like a pretty solid portion of this movie was in Chinese, which was which was cool, I guess. I mean, I don't. No, it was cool. It was cool. It was cool. I had like some small gripes with the subtitles. Again, I'll talk about those more in the spoilers. But overall, I really couldn't find too much that I had issues with in terms of this movie. Right? Again, Tony Leung was fantastic. The story was great. Right? It's just a great origin movie. Right? Again, I tried. Like again, I'm pretty critical person usually. There really isn't that many things for me to criticize about this movie, right? Without giving it extra thought, and then that could be easily explained, right? So yeah, go watch this movie if you haven't already. Obviously under safety protocols, conditions, all that stuff. Oh, one more thing. I thought I didn't, it wasn't necessary to go to film because, like, I mean, because I'm not a huge film goer or theater goer. I find the noise a bit too obnoxious, sometimes too loud. However, it was perfect this time, right? I thought the sound effects for the rings were great. The sound effects for the rings wow, were so much better in theater than if I was watching at home. And I'm glad I actually went to theaters this time. It was really really good. The sound effects of the rings are so cool. Which, speaking of the rings, that was another thing that I was worried about, because initially I saw the rings like, what is this thing? Looks kind of cringe. What this? How are they gonna use it? It looks, the name's weird. It looks weird. But no. After watching this movie, the Ten Rings is my absolute favorite artifact in the MCU by far. They're incredibly cool. They are used incredibly creatively, and everything about it is great. Yeah. So again, go watch the film. This is the best movie I've watched since Parasite. This is easily the best movie I've watched since Parasite. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, it's again, it's my favorite MCU film. My favorite comic book film, I think. Right? And it's crazy because, like, I never thought it would be this good. I never thought it'd be this good. I heard about it was good before, but like, it's like, I think, like, is it really gonna be like that good? Is it gonna be like better than like Infinity Wars, Endgame, which are like huge, crossover films with all these different storylines that took so much build up to get to that point. And again, those movies were fantastic. And I gotta say, yes, I did feel it was better. Because as much as I love Infinity War and Endgame, like, I could generally find some like things that I didn't really like about it. Some issues I had here and there. Obviously, I don't expect everyone to like this movie as much as me, right? Or there could be, again, film is very, very subjective. You could like it as much as I did, or you could not like it as much as I did, or you could like it more than I did, which is hard because I like it a lot, right? But yeah, go watch the movie if you haven't. I won't guarantee it, but I would say I think most of you will at least like it, right? At least enjoy it, at least have a good time watching it. It's great because, again, like, I did not think it was going to be this great. I did not think it was going to be this great because, again, a lot of, like, I thought, it's just going to be a very, very, stereotypical, by the books movie. It's gonna be like another kung fu movie, right? Western kung fu. But no, it was not like that, right? It still had the whole like Marvel feel to the movie. Obviously, I mean, it's a Marvel film, but I think a lot of times they went above and beyond that, right? And made something special of this. And I can't wait to watch the second Shang-Chi movie. I do not think they're gonna do one better than this one. I don't know. No, they're not. This is gonna be the best Shang-Chi movie. They're not gonna make one better than this one. I don't think. I mean, I'm not rooting against. I mean, if they do make a better one, then wow, like I'd be glad. I mean, I like watching good movies. I don't like watching bad ones. Right? I'm hoping they do. They do some. But like, even if the next Shang-Chi movie is like 70-80% as good as this one, I'm completely satisfied. I can't wait to see Shang-Chi himself interact with more of the other Avengers MCU characters. I can't wait to see some of the other characters. Again, no spoilers in terms of like who lived or whatever, who died, whatever, right? But I can't wait to see some of these other characters interact with a lot of the other MCU characters as well. I forgot to mention Wong. I love Wong. Wong's like just great, like everywhere. He's probably one of my favorite side characters in the MCUs. I don't think he's my favorite, but he's definitely up there, right? Top 5, top 6. My favorite side characters in the MCU. He's great. He wasn't like in this movie like a ton, but like his cameos here and there were really, really nice. Abomination was cool to see as well. Yeah, it was great. The color palettes, right? Like every like shot composition, like I can't say enough good things about this. This is probably gonna be like an hour long. Hopefully not, because I don't want to make an hour long video. But yeah, anyways, yeah. Go watch the movie if you haven't already. It's great. I think it's doing pretty well at the box office as well. I think it shattered the Labor Day record. Like the previous record was like 30 something million, right? And that was like pre-pandemic as well. This is obviously, in the middle of the COVID pandemic, and then this got like 70 million. It got like double like the previous like record box office high, and very, very well deserved. Yeah, very, very well deserved. Fantastic movie. Do not let Marvel fool you on this in terms of their not very stellar marketing. This is great movie. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention in terms of like Simu Liu, like Simu Liu, I don't know. Again, that issue just like came to me again. Like, should I pronounce his name as it is in Chinese, or should I just pronounce it as it is like in English? I mean, like, he pronounces his name as it is in English. He doesn't pronounce it like in a very Chinese way. I guess for him, his name a little bit like that. But yeah, a fun fact: Simu Liu, like, he has like a very, very similar I guess life as I did. We were born in the same city in China, Harbin, China. And it's not like, it's a small one. It's just like hundreds, like thousands of cities in China and a gazillion people there, right? We were born in the same city, and we both moved to Toronto, right? He's actually Torontonian. We both moved to Toronto when we were 1 year old, and we're both huge Raptor fans. Incredible, a coincidence. That is pretty cool. Obviously, he's much successful person than I am. I mean, I love doing my job. I love doing what I do. But like, I mean, I am not the face of Asian Americans just yet. Okay, I'll get there. But yeah. Anyways, it's great. It's great to see someone that again I share a lot of similarities with. Make be so successful, and I wish him all the luck in the future. And yeah, this is fantastic. I feel very, very happy for him, right? Again, I can't wait to see him in future films. And yeah. I mean, like, again, like, people talk about like this like representation thing. It is important. It's important. Like, do I ever feel it? Not really, right? I mean, personally, but I know it's important for a lot of people, and it's important for there's someone to look up to that relates to on multiple different levels, and yeah, that's important. Even though again, I it's not that much. I mean, maybe it is, and I'm just denying because again, I just talked about how similar our lives are. But yeah, I'm happy for that guy. Hope he does well. I see a lot of YouTube already trying to like kick this movie down, and precisely because of there's just a lot of really cringe and stupid anti-SJW like channels that like hate this movie, that like make an absolute living, like those channels that make an absolute living out of like just hating on Brie Larson. Like, Captain Marvel ended like what 3-4 years ago, and I like, these channels are still uploading Brie Larson videos. Like, that's their grift. That's their entire grift. That's their only way to like, I don't know, get views, make money. Just hate on Brie Larson, hate on, I don't know. In this case, they're hating on Simu Liu because Simu Liu actually clapped back to them, which I don't know if it was the best thing to do, but I enjoyed it. It was really cool. But yeah. Don't let those people fool you into not watching this film. This is an absolutely incredible film. Go watch it. Like, that's the complete BS by those people. But okay, all right, now let's talk about some spoilers. All right. Let's talk about some spoilers. And I can't wait to delve into this. All right. First of all, I cried during this movie. And it's not like, I mean, I'm a pretty emotional person, right? I think it's good to be, I think it's good to show your emotions a lot of times, especially with how society discourages, especially, guys, right? From just saying their emotional time to time. But I don't cry like that much usually. with like movies and stuff. And when I do cry, like it's all, usually it's just like a general sense of something, right? But this movie, very, very specifically and clearly remember and know where I cried, which parts I cried in, and why I did so, right? So I cried 3 times, precisely at 3 parts of this movie. First part was when Shang-Chi's mom died, obviously. Second part was when Shang-Chi's dad died. And third part was when, after the battle, right, they were gathered around, and I do not see people talk about this scene enough. I do not see people talk about this scene enough. That hit me so hard when, after the battle was over, they were at the lake. They had these like lantern boats stuff, and then Simu pushed it into the lake and said like farewell father or something, in Chinese. And oh my god, I was absolutely bawling. Like that was, I lost it. That hit me so hard. I'm tearing up even thinking about it right now. Wow, like, cause it's such an emotional and like complex story, and that's what was so good about it. And again, I do think a lot of that was thanks to Tony Leung. His performance was just breathtakingly good. I think he dominated the film, right? And I don't mean that, in any disrespect to any of the other actors. I don't think it's a bad thing. I thought he carried this movie. He was just so good in it. He was so good in it. I can spend like, I could spend an hour just talking about this guy and like all these things that he did in the film. But yeah, that part was so good. Like, Simu's delivery was great, right? But it's the build up to that moment that I thought was so good, right? Like, wow, that was such a powerful moment. There's so many very, very powerful moments, I thought. But yeah, the first time when his mom died, when his father, when Wenwu died, oh my god, that's my new number one favorite death scene in the MCU. That's my number one favorite death scene in the MCU. Before it was Killmonger's death. I thought Killmonger's death was that was art, right? How the death of Killmonger, that was so good. Okay, it makes me kind of wavered out thinking about it, because wow, Killmonger's death was so good, right? The way how like it drew back to how he's talked about how his father told him how beautiful the sunset in Wakanda was, and how the understanding between T'Challa, which, rest in peace Chadwick Boseman, such a fantastic actor as well, but yeah, between at the end of the film, between T'Challa and Killmonger, and that dialogue, and yeah, it was so good. But I think I like Wenwu's death a bit more, right? I mean, again, MCU has been very, very good at killing off characters. I think, right? I mean, like, just outside of like Killmonger, like Loki's death, I thought was impactful. Like that was something that got me, right. The Black Widow death wasn't bad, right? Tony Stark's death was like big. Here's the thing. Tony Stark definitely had the much more impactful death in terms of like the implications for like the whole MCU, like as a whole, right? In terms of how much Tony Stark, the character, meant to the whole universe, right? But in terms of like the execution of the death, I think I do like Wenwu's more, right? Or even like Killmonger's, but like they have been doing some very, very good death things. Yondu's death I thought was great as well, right? But like, yeah, Wenwu's death was something else, and again, it was completely because of how great Tony Leung's performance was. Like, he didn't like he at the end he didn't say anything. He did not say a word. His last acts were when the Giratina, that's what I'm gonna refer to the. I don't know. I can't remember its actual name. The soul sucking thing, the Giratina came out of the thing, right? Or well, it was out for a while, and then he realized, why is this? All right, never mind. The video was choppy for a second, but the Giratina came out of the thing. It's still choppy. All right, hopefully it's fixed now. But the Giratina came out of the thing, and then he knew he effed up, right? He knew he screwed up on that one. He knew that Simu was right, the people were right, and then he was willing to pay the price. His last act, right before getting souped up, was to save his son with his rings. He dived, saved his son. He got scooped up by the Giratina, and as he was getting his soul sucked out of his body and then died, which, by the way, he died so convincingly. I know that sounds weird, but like, he was so great at acting out his death. I got it. But anyways, but before we get to that, he was in the hands or claws or whatever the heck of the Giratina, and it started sucking him, and like, he did not need to say anything. It was all in like his eyes, and I know like people have been talking about this nonstop. He's so great acting with his eyes, and it's true. It's true. It's not. People don't talk about it because they're hyping up. The people are talking about it because it's true. He was so good at acting with his eyes. Like, he was just looking at Simu, and that was so powerful. That was such a great moment. Like, at the end, like, all this like understanding. He loves his son. That's so crazy. Like, this villain, right? He seems so like, he's such a sympathetic villain, because obviously he's a villain. He's done terrible things, right, throughout the centuries, the thousands of years that he's been alive, right? And even in this film, he's done terrible things. Arguably a very bad father. I mean, he's basically tortured his son growing up, trained him to be an assassin, to kill someone at 14 years old. But he loves his son. I know he loves his son. You know that. You could see it. And I don't think any of that was, again, obviously I don't know. I'm not the scriptwriter, but I don't think that was like, I think a lot of that was just how he acted it out. He loves his son. He knows he loves his son, right? Obviously, again, how he expressed it might not have been the best way. And at the end of his life, he entrusted the rings to his son to pass it on. He trusted his son at the end. He knew he was wrong, and again, him and his son, he's definitely had their issues, right? Definitely had their issues, differences, conflicts, all that stuff. But at the end, he gave up his life. He saved his son. He trusted his son, and passed on his most, I think, the thing he loved the most in his life, or the second most outside of his wife, right? Like, this like, the 10 rings basically was him. He was the 10 rings. Like, it's basically, without the 10 rings, he would not be the person that he was. I mean, he'd be dead like thousands of years ago, for one. But he gave it to his son, and like, there's little details, right? At the end, if you guys remember when Michelle Yeoh's character was training Shang to fight his or to prepare him to fight his father's or was it Michelle or was it or was it Shang-Chi's mom? But like, told him to open his hands instead of clenching these fists. And then his father, at the end, when he was giving the rings to Shang-Chi, he also opened his hands up and gave him the rings. And then oh my god, dude, people are missing out so bad on this film. The people who didn't watch it, it's such a good film. at the end there. I thought that was a absolutely fantastic death scene. The entire time, like, I was, oh dude, I was screaming inside. I was like, no, do something. I did not, like, I'm super conflicted because, again, the way he died was fantastic, and it makes the movie. It was a huge part of why this movie was great. Was the eventual, how they resolved and concluded Tony Leung's arc, right, or Wenwu's character, right, and yeah, I knew it was the right thing to do to kill him off. It was the right thing to do, but like I was screaming inside, like, no, like do something, like I don't know, like use the rings, but like he didn't. That's the thing, he didn't. He accepted what he did was wrong, right? He knew that like he screwed up. He caused the deaths of a bunch of people, right? A lot of people again got their souls sucked out. He knew he was wrong. He let his people down. He let the people of his wife's village down. He let his family down. And he was ready to pay the ultimate price for that. And that was such a great conclusion to his character arc. This is, oh my god, no. This the more I talk about it, the more I think about this film, the more I think it solidifies how much I like this film. No, he is definitely my favorite character in the MCU now. It sucks so bad that he dies at the end. We're not going to see him again. Oh my god, same thing I felt with like Killmonger as well, right? When Killmonger died, I was like, oh my god, we can't see this guy again. I hope they do like some prequel with him. I actually don't think they're gonna do anything with Tony Leung anymore. Like, this is, again, him playing in a Hollywood or American movie is already an extremely rare thing to happen. I don't think they're gonna make him do it again. It's not happening. But like, wow, what a character, what a scene, what a absolutely impressive actor. Yeah, incredible actor. Anyways, anything else? I think that's did I just, how long, I don't even know how long you just spent just talking about that one scene, but that one scene was fantastic. And then again, how impactful that death scene was immediately affected the boat scene, or the lantern, the funeral scene. And dude, like when they got on the Rayquaza, and after his father died, they got onto the dragon. Obviously, there was still a fight to do, right? And after they finished the fight, they were riding the dragon back to the village, and I was just screaming, "No, go back! You're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong side of the lake. Your dad is on the other side. Go back. Go pick him up. Try to, I don't know, revive him somehow." Like, I was just screaming inside. I was so, oh my god, that broke me. That absolutely broke me. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. Anyways, aside from that, the rings were cool as hell. Like, again, like I mentioned before, I thought, like, I thought this is gonna be like super weird and awkward, but like, no, the rings are the coolest thing. And you're like, the blast that they do with the rings, dude, the blast are so cool. And again, and that was the thing I was talking about. The blast effects of the rings made going to the theaters completely worth it, right? Completely worth it, just to hear the blast sound effects of the rings through those like big speakers. That itself was worth going to the theaters alone, right? And I thought both Tony and Simu did a really, really good job, using the rings, right? My favorite fight scene has to be the first time Shang and Wenwu fought, right? And wow, I was rooting for Wenwu the entire time. I was like, dude, beat this guy up. I was like, and he did. It was so cool. That ending, that final like sequence in that fight was my favorite, I think. So like, before that, I loved Wanda versus Thanos. Wanda versus Thanos was so good, right? But this might be my new favorite one. Like, at the end, when I think Simu had like the upper hand, and then he just grabbed his stick and then like got the rings, and then boom, punched him in, like sent his like into the water, right? That was so cool. That was so cool. I especially liked when he's charging up for like an incredibly powerful punch. He'd like do this, and then he'd get like the 5 rings, because he had like 5 on each, but he'd transfer the 5 rings onto like his dominant hand, so he had the power of all 10 rings on one arm, and then just said like a big one in there, right? Yeah, no, I was completely wrong on how cool the rings were gonna be. And like even as a defense mechanism, how like they float around and deflect everything, that's super super cool as well. It would have been cool if they like, I guess, explained like each one of the rings. That would have been nice, but they didn't. And sure, I guess they probably, I think they're gonna explore the nature of the rings more in like future movies, because in the mid-credit scenes, obviously, a big part of the mid-credit scenes were them, Wong, Captain Marvel, and Bruce, which by the way is now back to Bruce for some reason, which I love. I really like Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner. I think he's great at like just the right amount of like awkwardness and like it's cringe, but like it's a good cringe. It's a very 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 fits his character. But yeah. That aside, obviously, I do think that they're going to explore it much more in the future, right? The first fight with Wenwu and his wife, right, or his future wife, I guess. That was beautiful. The color palette was great in the bamboo forest. Although again, this is also another like stereotypical like Chinese movies bamboo. I grew up in China a bit, right? There's not that many bamboos in China. There's like 1-2 provinces that have like a lot of bamboo. Like, there's like Sichuan, then like Yunnan, then like maybe Guizhou, but like there's not that much bamboo in China. There really isn't. Like the place where I live, like what bamboo just straight up do not grow at all, right? Or where I lived or / born, and. But yeah, anyways, regardless, like, okay, whatever, it could be stereotypical, but that place was beautiful. They had that little pond over there as well. That was beautiful. Them fighting was great. I don't think I've ever seen. I mean, well, I've seen it before, but like I haven't seen it like executed so well. It was like both a dance and a fight. As like, and this is why I thought the action scenes in Shang-Chi were so good, because here's what annoys the hell out of me is when the fight scenes are just there to fight, right? They're like the fight to fight. Those bore me to no end. I do not like fight scenes. I'm not a big action scene person. I don't like a lot of fight scenes. This might upset a lot of people, but I did not enjoy John Wick at all. Personally, right? I'm not saying all of John Wick's fight scenes were fighting for the sake of looking cool, because I mean they did look cool, but I also didn't really care that much, right? A lot of them were just you're fighting, there's not, but a lot of the action scenes in this movie had narrative in there. Characters were developing, storylines were developing as the fights happened, right? There was purpose in almost all of the fights, right? There's immense purpose in a lot of those, and that was beautiful and great about this movie. That first fight scene was fantastic. Let me just let me just dump all my thoughts on Wenwu first before we like move on to anything else. The scene where he went and killed the Iron Gang, whatever they're called, when he was getting revenge. Oh, I ate that. Oh, that was so good. I ate that all up. He went in, boom, smashed the table in half, and then like absolutely just unleashed on everyone. Like, dude, these guys killed the leader of the Ten Rings' wife, and they had it coming. I don't know. Again, like, I know he's a villain. I am against murdering people bad, but like, that was cool. That was very very cool. That was incredibly cool. That was so cool. That last shot with him just looking down at that guy, and then boom, and like blasted him. Wow, that was incredibly good. What else? The final fight with him and Shang-Chi was great as well, right? I really liked how Shang-Chi, like, at first I didn't know how I really felt about Shang-Chi not killing his father, but after talking with some friends who also watched it, and looking up what, you know, some thoughts about it, I think they did the right choice there, where it was a pretty heavy moment where, you know, Aquafina was talking with Simu about, you know, the issue, and he's like, I think I have to kill my father, and at the end he didn't do it. He had the whole Kamehameha ready. He had the ring Kamehameha ready in his hand, and then he thought about it, but he didn't do it, and I thought that was great. That was great. Again, both of them fighting over there was fantastic. I thought, like, how he kept on punching that seal, right? Even though he probably, you know, he saw he was unleashing these demons, but like, a lot of people might think like that scene is like not great because, like, dude, you already see these demons coming out. Like, dude, stop. What are you doing? Are you stupid? And I would say no, he's not stupid. He's delusional. He's just completely, any last bit of hope, right? He's clinging onto any last bit of hope. Like, he did not give up until he finally unleashed the big one, right? Because, like, I can understand, like, he's like, okay, maybe this doesn't look like it's working out, but, like, I will do whatever I can to, like, if there's any last bit of hope, I will keep on doing this, whatever it costs, right? And that was great, because, like, when I first, you know, heard about, like, the movie was gonna be like about, like, this, like, it's more like a love story between Yvonne Wen and his wife, I was like, oh, come on. Because you know, they could be there for she something, but it was not at all, right? I think he played this character who was you know, just completely enamored with his wife. I think he played it perfectly. He did not make it seem like cheesy at all. He made it very, very human, and yeah, like, you can understand. Again, you don't have to agree. Again, I'm not saying he's a good guy. He did terrible things, but you could get it. You could get it, right? Anyways, what else do we have to talk about? Oh, another great part. I like, just overall, like, his just acting is just, like, so good. Like, again, like, every time, like, he just looks like he gives you the looks. They're executed so well. He's so good at those. How does he do that? I don't know. I'm not an actor, obviously. He's he's so good at those. But another scene that I really, really liked with him, or line, was when he sent the death dealers after Simu, right? And his sister, and then in the end, when they were fighting inside the building, when they went outside and then they came back inside, and then at the end, where Simu was basically about to, like, kill the guy, and then he came in and stopped them, and then he says, I don't remember the exact line, but he said something like, it was in the trailer too, right? I told my men they cannot kill you, and I'm glad I was right, or something like that. That was so cool. I mean, it's incredibly screwed up thing to say, but that was super, super cool as well, right? I thought the opening scene was cool with him throughout the ages as well, right? And then going into 1990, 6 or 7, whatever, and then he in, like, a suit and helicopter. Speaking of suits, that suit when he was out there to, like, eliminate all those people who killed his wife, that was awesome as well. Yeah, I don't know. I can't say enough good things about him. I can't believe they got him to actually play in an American movie. Wow. Anyways, I guess I should probably talk about some of the other stuff that happened. I mean, he was not the entire movie. He was definitely not the entire movie. He's a good portion of it. He was not the entire movie. Let's actually. Oh, I actually want to talk about his sister. Played by again Zhang Meng or Zhang, whatever. Xialing, right? Xu Xialing. and she was the biggest surprise for me, because like I knew Tony Leung was gonna be good, right? I knew Tony Leung was gonna be good. I hope Simu Liu was gonna be good. Actually, no, the big surprise for me actually wasn't like, but like I didn't like know her. Okay, maybe like second biggest surprise. The biggest surprise for me was Awkwafina, because again, I mentioned before I'm not a huge fan, but I thought she was perfect in this movie. Her dynamic with Simu was just like, it just felt like so natural. It felt so natural, and she did a really good job of her of this. So all the credit in the world to her, I guess. But yeah, back to Xu Xiaoling, right? She was so cool. She's so badass. Oh my god. She's so cool. Her weapon, it's called the Leung Shui. I don't know what's it called in English. The thing with the like rope with like a spearhead at the end. That was incredibly cool weapon of choice, right? Because especially being the fact that Tony Leung like or Vong, trains all those assassins and stuff, and I think that was a very fitting weapon. What I wish would have happened if it was like at the end, like she used like that to hit like the Giratina's neck or whatever instead of the arrow, but I guess the arrow works as well, whatever. But yeah, that was super cool. I really like how they made the character. They never really made it clear if this was a completely good or bad character, right? She's not a black and white character. I mean, none of these are. I mean, like even Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi's a very flawed person, right? Which again, flaws that make the character good, right? Like, I guess I'll talk about it later, but like, you don't exactly get a sense, because like, she opened this like fight club on her own, which, okay, it was cool, like Awkwafina said, but also that's kind of not a. It's in terms on like the scale of morality, I think that would not be very good, right? Opening up a fight club where people sometimes fight to the death for money, not good, not good, not a good thing. I am very excited to see what happens now that she has control of the 10 rings, right? Here's the thing, I don't think she's going to be a villain. I do not think she's going to be a villain. I think she's done way too many good to be a villain, right? The scene where they were on the dragon, right, with Shanti and Xu Xiaoling, right? They were on the dragon, and she was gonna fall, and that was such a good scene. And Shanti used the rings to make sure she didn't fall, and then like she was telling him, let go, right? She doesn't want to be in the way of either Shang-Chi surviving or saving the world. She was completely ready to give up herself for the greater good, right? So I do not think she will turn up to be a villain. I think she's more of like a more independent, it seems like, a character. Like she's gonna do what is good for her, and what's good for her I don't think are morally bad things overall, or just like extremely like evil things. I don't think she's gonna be bad, like a bad person. I think she's generally good. Again, it's more of a gray character, but I think she's more leaning towards like a good person overall. But that was a great scene, because like when she was talking about how Shang-Chi left her when he said he'll be back in like 3 days, and then 3 days turned into 6 days, a week, months, years, and then how that paralleled to at the end over there where she was saying, let me go, and then Shang-Chi was just like, I'm not gonna let you go again, right? I'm never gonna let you go again. That was a very good how this like brother and sister dynamic changes, right? I thought that was fantastic. I think this is her first ever like film, which is like, wow, how could like this be your first film and like be so good? That was incredible. That was unbelievably good. What else? Yeah, I would love to see more of her in the future. Who else should we talk about? Ben Kingsley character I thought was great. Okay, maybe I think it was like a bit too much, right? I thought that maybe he like showed up a bit too much at the end, but he was again great comedic, relief character, right? I thought she's pretty good overall, right? The I forgot the name, but the faceless hog bird thing, whatever. That was very very cute, obviously. I did like I'm actually gonna watch Iron Man 3 again after this. I think it made me I think this movie made me feel like Iron Man 3 felt much better, right? Now that we watched, oh man, if I ever got to like watch Leung actually like confront Iron Man, that would have been so nice. Unfortunately, both are not here anymore. But yeah, I thought his character was nice. I thought Razor Fist was cool, right? The bus scene was really really cool, dude. That streamer guy was great. That guy was funny as hell. I'd love to see him more in future films. That guy was cool. I love that guy. What else? Michelle Yeoh was great, right? With her character. Chen Pao was great in her character as well, right? She also had the best Chinese out of everyone. I mean, maybe you guys will not get this analysis from anywhere else. All right, me ranking the characters in terms of how great their Chinese was. Number one, Shang-Chi's mom. She had the best Chinese out of all of them, hands down, easily. She easily had the best Chinese. Number two, in terms of like just pronunciation, right? Number two, I think is Shang-Chi's sister. I thought her Chinese was pretty solid. Number three, I actually think Shang-Chi had the third best Chinese. I know like Simu Liu is always like insecure about like his Chinese pronunciation stuff, and I think he needs a bit more self-confidence. I think his pronunciation is pretty spot on. I think it was really really good, honestly, right? Who's after that? Let me see. I think it kind of falls off a bit after that. I guess maybe Tony Leung's. People might get this misconception if you're not a Chinese speaker, but his Chinese is not that great. I know like he's from obviously China, all that stuff, but like there's like a billion different dialects in China, right? The one he speaks, since he's I think born in Hong Kong, right? They speak like Cantonese over there, and Cantonese is very very different from like standard like the most standard pronunciation of like Mandarin Chinese or whatever, right? So it was rough. I mean, it wasn't terrible, right? But he got the spirit of it well, at least, right? When he was delivering the lines, the incantation, all that stuff, it was good. His tone, he delivered. He definitely delivered the lines. Again, the pronunciation wasn't perfect, but he definitely delivered. What's next? In terms of like the major characters, I don't really remember that much. I think the grandma's the grandma's Chinese was pretty good, I guess. The Aquafina's grandma, right? I guess then is like Michelle Yeoh's. I think she was probably the worst of all the like major characters. I think she's Malaysian, so I mean, Malaysian Chinese is like not very. Again, I'm not. It's not like a bad thing. I'm not saying if your Chinese is bad, it's just like a bad thing. No, it doesn't matter, right? I don't think it matters that much. And then Aquafina's Chinese basically, not non-existent. But I mean, that's part of her character, right? It's part of her character. Yeah, that she's like, completely born in America, raised in America, China's not correct. But again, not a big deal. Just a fun whatever, right? But yeah. I don't know what else. I guess I haven't talked about Simu that much, right? Here's what I thought about Simu. I think he was good in this movie. I definitely think he was good in this movie. I do think that there's a lot of room for improvement, which is good. That's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. Like in some scenes he seemed a bit raw, right? Um, but he was great. I thought he was great overall, right? And I really like how they wrote the Shang-Chi character, because this is a very flawed person. Right? This is a very flawed person. First of all, growing up in that environment, and eventually how he ran away instead of like facing the problems, you know, straight on. I know he was 14, blah blah blah, but like instead of like in facing, he ran away from his problems. He ran to America to become a valet driver, right? Which, nothing against valet drivers. It was that part was really fun as well. But like, yeah, he ran away from his problems, and he eventually went back to face it, right? And it was for his love of his family, right? Initially, for his love of his sister, he went back. Because he's worried about his sister, right? Obviously, that was a bogus letter written by his father, get them both in one place, I guess. But also at the end, his love of his mother's family, and a more, I guess, greater love of humanity and the peoples, right? Which was really good. Great character arc, right? In terms of growth and all that stuff. His fighting was fine, right? Nothing wrong about it. It was really good. Because I don't think he's a martial artist either before this, right? I mean, he looks like a pretty buff dude. He's pretty built, all that stuff, but I don't think he's like exactly a martial artist. But his fighting was great. Again, like I mentioned before, his Chinese was actually really good. He needs more self-confidence in that. And in terms of like the comedic stuff, and obviously it's a Marvel film, they have to be like funny sometimes. I thought the comedy was fine. It wasn't like over the top. It was not the funniest film ever, right? I think the funniest one, in my opinion, is probably still Ragnarok. But it was not over the top funny, which I thought was good. I thought it was good. It was not over the top funny. I think it fit the movie overall really well. And it's just like every single scene. The greatest thing about this movie, outside of Tony Leung, is that like every scene had purpose. Every scene made sense. Every scene was not overdone, right? There was nothing dragged. The pacing was perfect. Again, in my opinion, everything was just so great. Everything was so great. Yeah, it was a good movie. It was a good movie. I want to watch it again. I don't think I've ever watched a movie twice in the theaters before. I might go watch it again. I want to. It's just the theaters are super far away from me, and I just don't like going to theaters overall in general. But I might go watch it again, because like I'm feeling if I don't, then this thing's not gonna ever come back to theaters, and I'll miss that experience, right? Again, if not just for the sound effects of the rings, if not just for the sound effects of the rings, I have to go back and watch that, right? Again, like I mentioned before, I had a lot of worries with this movie before I was watching, even like during when I was watching it. I think one of my first things was my first worries was that they would not execute Shang-Chi's mom's death that well, or I was afraid they might not even show us at all. Cause like the thing with like all the flashbacks is the flashbacks, it wasn't like one big flashback. It was like multiple flashbacks in the movie as they were, again, adequately timed, in reflection to current events, right? Whatever's happening at the time. Again, my fear over there was that they didn't execute the death that well, but no. Those worries, like a lot of those worries that I had during the movie, got completely resolved at the end, right? There's a lot of times that was during the movie was like, okay, but why are you doing this? And then later on it was like, oh, okay, they explained it. Like they explained everything, and it was good, because again, a lot of times I was throughout the movie I was worried, right? But yeah, again, like when I like the one thing that I didn't know how to feel about, and I talked about this before when I was coming out of the movie, was I didn't know how I felt about you know Seymour like not killing his father after saying he did, but again, it made sense. He had to he had to show that he was not his father, right? And that he was worthy of actually wielding these 10 rings and not using them for evil or bad deeds like his father did, right? Another thing that I initially didn't think, or I okay, I wasn't like against it, but I was mixed on it, was, you know, in terms of how what they did with the rings at the end. I initially thought that I was hoping that that Simu, when he blasted the Giratina from like his, you know, his insides, I was hoping that he'd destroy the rings with it, right? Like it's just one like big explosion, the rings get like completely destroyed as it destroys the monster. But then I thought about it, I was like, yeah, maybe not. You know, again, I talked to some people and got some, you know, more perspectives on it. And yeah, again, it makes sense. Because initially, my reasoning was because these rings has represented some really evil stuff, right? They've not done a lot of great things with these rings, right? And I was thinking, should the hero in the MCU like carry this burden on his arms, right? Like literally on his arms. But yeah, I guess again it made sense. With the fact how the rings change colors as well at the end, it was also another indication of how, you know, he was worthy of wielding these rings in a manner for good, right? Even though again, not a perfect person, but generally I'd say he's a better person than his dad, right? But yeah, I thought that was resolved pretty well. Yeah, I don't know. Could go. Okay, you guys probably already watched the movie. Go watch it again. I don't know. Totally, that was so good, man. I can't say enough good things about it. Again, he's my new favorite Marvel character, right? I love Killmonger to death. He's such a great character, right? But I think I like Shang more. Here's the thing. I think Killmonger's. I think I liked Killmonger's motivations more, right? But I think overall, like personality wise, demeanor wise, I think I like Tony Leung more, and I love Michael B. Jordan. I thought he was a great Killmonger. I don't think anyone would have done as well as he did. This is in no way disrespecting Michael B. Jordan, but I did think, in terms of like acting chops, I did think I like Tony Leung's a bit better, right? So I might change my mind in a few days again, but at the moment I think he's my favorite character in the MCU, period, right? Yeah, that's my top three of Killmonger and Wanda. I love Wanda. As well. But yeah, no, I definitely like this more than WandaVision. I love WandaVision. I like this more than WandaVision. I like this more than Black Panther. I like this more than Thor Ragnarok, which is crazy. I didn't think I would ever watch an MCU film that I like more than Thor Ragnarok. Even though it wasn't like my favorite movie, but I was like, it was just so good, man. But no, I like this more than Thor Ragnarok. I can't wait to see more of I can't wait to see Shang-Chi 2. I can't believe that we don't have any news on Shang-Chi 2 yet. We should, but we don't. Why don't we? Hello? I need a 2 right now. Again, I do not expect 2 to be better than 1. This is wow. They're not going to make it better. It's not happening. It's not happening. As much as I hate to say it, it's not happening. But yeah, I don't know. I think I've talked enough about it. Oh my, it is an hour. That sucks. Unfortunate. But I mean, I had a lot to say. Again, great movie. Great action scenes, great music. I mean, I could still talk hours about this, but I mean, I don't. This video is gonna be way too long. But yeah, talk Shang-Chi with me. Join the Discord and talk Shang-Chi with me. I need more people to talk Shang-Chi with me. It's a great movie. I'm gonna go watch it again sometime if I do have time, because school actually started for me, unfortunately. But we'll see. Yeah, can't wait to watch more of Shang-Chi. Wow. Yeah, props to the whole team, man. Those was fan, except for the marketing team. So you guys could have done a much better job hyping this movie up. Wow. Anyways, have fun, folks. Yeah, I mean, don't expect this to be like a regular thing on my channel. I will not be reviewing every movie I see. But this one was good. This was a good movie. Go watch this movie. Great movie. Great movie. Anyways, yeah, like even like the Chinese fans who, because people are in China are not delighted about this, right? I think, man, there's a lot of issues they have with the movie. I guess just to like speak directly with them, I'll just like in Chinese, 我在网上看的有几点吧，大家对这个电影的看法，主要是就是很多人没看，然后认为有辱华或者是怎么样的片段，我看的是我更真的没有，他们很多这些因为它本身这个漫画里边是有非常问题比较大的一些人物或者故事情节，但在这里边完全没有，这些都是完全的全新的故事，人物也都是基本上是全新设计的。他们上期的梁朝伟扮演这个人物非常好看。我看还有很多人批这个刘思慕的长相，说长得太普通，长得首先这个除了非常肤浅之外，这种我认为这种人身攻击不好，可是攻击人长相干啥呀？这个首先非常不道德，非常不道德。然后其次我认为他演的不错，当然演技还稍微年轻了一点，他好像也30几了，但是他演的不错，给这个电影一个机会去看一下，我认为是非常重要的。不管是这个电影本身，或者对华人在整个世界上的影响也好，他们怎么看他们的对华人电影，或者因为最近太多那个，就是因为这个疫情所造成的歧视也好，或者排华反华的一些行为也好，我觉得需要有这些更正能量的一些东西展示给世界，让别人看到这个华人更正面的一些就要改善他们的看法嘛，因为然后这也不是像几十年前了，我觉得大家就是西方也好，或者全球也好，对接受接纳能力，我认为是也有所提升啊。很多人都叫好 ，right？ 这个电影，我觉得应该给他一个机会，去看一下。电影好看。梁朝伟演的好，梁朝伟演的电影为什么大家都不想去看？去看一下吧，挺好的。So, anyways, That might have been slightly weird for you guys who don't or no Chinese, but good movie. Go watch it. I'm out. I'm hungry. I've been talking for like an hour and 20 minutes straight. That should not happen. But have fun, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.